All right. All right. Tonight we're going to talk about CFPB. We're going to talk about pro se litigation, and then there's some Q&A. Did some of you all join the pre-lit groups talk about CFPB? I mean, they were talking about some other things too, but they end up talking about the CFPB, mentioning a few times. Anybody was in Steve's group? But yeah, I mean, everyone here should really be familiar with CFPB. I'm gonna be posting some links in our WhatsApp, but a lot of you should already be very familiar with CFPB. The CFPB, I think I've been utilizing them in conjunction with my disputing. It seems like it's been maybe seems like about 6 years at least, it appears. I'm trying to think if it's been more. But yeah, a little shy of a decade, I think I've probably been using them in conjunction with some disputing. And I found them over time to be most helpful with collections. Now, recently, I don't, I'm getting information from people that they don't seem to be as helpful. Some complaints don't make it to the collector. Some they divert to the FTC. Some they say they're not going to assist with. But for the most part, they've been pretty helpful. I think a lot of you have probably utilized some of my techniques and
Hey,
implemented them.
Mr. Ponder,
Mm-hmm.
when they do that FTC, because that's happened to me a couple of times when I sent things off to CFPB. They was kind of like, they sent it up, or they were saying that the FTC had to investigate. What exactly is that process, or what exactly is do they mean by that? Because when I did it, I didn't really understand, but I was just kind of pissed, and I was like, man, fuck that.
Okay. Well, the FTC and both the CFPB have the enforcement authority under these consumer laws. Technically, I guess, the U.S. attorney as well, which is the enforcement agency for the federal government. But for the most part, the FTC and the CFPB have that authority now. It's like them being a body and you have two hands. You can drive with your right hand and left hand. So I consider that to be a hot potato move, if you know what I mean, when they do that, because surely the stuff you're asking them to do, they certainly have the enforcement authority to do it. So that's what I mean by them taking diversion actions. When you're trying to get them to help you deal with a debt collector, for example, and they're saying, oh well, this is best done by the FTC. I think it's a hot potato situation, and it's very unfortunate. You may recall when Trump was in office, they were really trying to really undo the CFPB altogether. It was really scary for a moment. We thought that, and I think some of the CFPB's governance has changed a lot. So that's why you're seeing some different types of actions. So from the last administration, I think we're still probably suffering. And I don't keep close track of the governance. I know the people that, basically when I say governance, the people that's over the CFPB, the officers in there that make the decision making on what they're going to pursue and what they're not going to pursue. I probably should keep a closer look, but I'm too busy trying to get stuff done. But I do recall
from 13322.
Turn the phone down. But I do recall how the CFPB was almost about to get undone, and there was a real push by the last administration to sort of untie it. And understandably, some of the people that pushed that, probably some of the big money makers in the banks, lending institutions, things like that, because consumer protection really leads to going after banks and people that the money makers. So the consumers don't have the money; it's the the big entities. So anyway, what leads us to this is some people have found out about that CRC lawsuit. Now we know for a couple of years they've been trying to get CRC to provide information, basically information to hang itself. And then finally, the court, I think, sided with the CFPB in getting that information. They were trying to basically fish for information so that they could go after them. And then finally, they got what they asked for. And I guess that was enough for them to go after CRC. Now, CRC is Credit Repair Cloud. And as y'all see here, let me see. Yeah, so CRC is Credit Repair Cloud. And we see the headline. I'm going to post these in the group so y'all can look at them at your own time in super detail. But we're going to talk about that, how it may affect you, how it may not affect you, and like I was saying today, we have to learn to adapt to these different things and sort of pay attention. So I wasn't really going to talk about it because, I really just, but I think it's important that you become aware of these actions so that you can know what's going on in the industry. The CFPB sues software company that helps credit repair businesses charge legal fees. See, that's great. Charge legal fees. Now, I will tell you this now, there's a lot of truth to this. I've been listening and watching and seeing what companies do, but this title sounds a little crazy, but helps credit repair businesses. Now, I don't know. I mean, helping, it's, I don't know. We're going to read through it a little bit, but I can see if someone's committing a crime and when you help people, that's unlawful. But if there's a civil violation, and so say if I help you start your credit repair business and you go out there and do illegal things, I'm not responsible for what you do in your business. At least that's my position on the civil side. There's no, unless you're saying that I'm conspiring and there's some type of racketeering, like, group effort to commit. But even that on the civil side, it just doesn't make sense. But we're going to look at it. But this headline is real salacious, just to helping credit repair business charge legal fees. Now, in my experience, I think most credit repair organizations or charge legal fees, and when I bring it up, I get my head chopped off, and people saying, "Oh, I can charge it." I was talking to some other large credit repair group owner, and he said that I really would encourage people to consider changing business models as far as getting a nonprofit because of the advanced fee charging. The person was like, "Oh, I can charge an admin fee up front." It's just because you change the name of it doesn't really make it better. But anyway, I just wanted to start there because the headline is just saying it's helping credit repair businesses charge illegal fees. And when you hear illegal fees, that's what I immediately think of, because the biggest Credit Repair Organization Act violation sometimes involves, advanced fees, but but you're not subject to that if you have a certain business model. The lawsuit seeks compensation for harmed consumers, injunction and civil penalty for alleged violations of the telemarketing sales rules. So we're going to read through, but it seems sort of ridiculous because, they're marketing to business owners or credit repair organizations. So if they're talking about consumers and consumers, then the people liable for violating them, you would think would be the credit repair organization, not the software company. So we'll read through it. CFPB filed a lawsuit in federal court accusing California-based software company, its owner, for providing assistance to illegal credit repair businesses. And again, that's sort of new to me, the whole providing assistance being illegal. So I'm looking forward to reading what they mean by that. The CFPB alleges that the Credit Repair Cloud and Rosen violated the telemarketing sales rule. Now, we're going to go through this rule too, because it would apply to you as people helping people with credit. And in my estimation, we'll go into in detail, is it's one of those rules to where if they want to get you, they can get you. Sort of silly. And the Consumer Financial Protection Act 2020, by providing substantial assistance or support to credit repair businesses that use telemarketing and charge unlawful advance fees to customers. So I want y'all to pay attention to this, because ultimately that's a big issue. The CFPB's lawsuit seeks relief for harmed consumers from the defendants, disgorgement of their unjust gains, an injunction to stop their illegal conduct and civil penalty. So CRC and Rosen have been breaking the law, said David. They're actively assisting credit repair businesses in violating federal consumer law. So again, these are civil laws that I'm saying. I'll see more, but maybe after I read through this complaint with you all, I'll be able to appreciate the assisting, because usually that's based on criminal things, but we'll see. They facilitate and encourage credit repair businesses to charge illegal advance fees, causing broader consumer harm in the marketplace. The CFPB will not tolerate companies facilitating and profiting from other companies' violations of federal consumer laws. CRC is California-based at Rosen since 2013. They've sold software and other tools to help others start and operate credit repair businesses. The credit repair business provides consumers with goods or services that purport represented that. It's a typo, that purport I represent to remove derogatory information from credit reports or otherwise improve a person's credit history, credit record, credit rating. Such companies that use the telemarketing are covered by the TSR and may not request or receive fees from a consumer until the company has provided the consumer with a credit report that shows the promised results. That's false. I mean, it just hurts reading this, because the way they're twisting it, you don't sell a promised result. Y'all understand that, right? Anyway, and that was issued more than 6 months after results were achieved. All right. The CFPB's complaint alleges that Rosen and the CRC are providing substantial assistance to credit repair companies that use telemarketing to reach consumers and charge unlawful fees under the TSR. Specifically, the CFPB alleges that Rosen and Credit Repair Cloud have encouraged credit repair businesses that use their services, including trainings, materials, and software, to charge unlawful fees, and Rosen and Credit Repair Cloud knew or consciously avoided knowing that these customers were charging fees. This is crazy. Enforcement action under the CFPA, the CFPB has authority. CFPB is seeking monetary relief for consumers, disgorgement of unjust gains, injunctive relief, and a civil money penalty. The complaint is not a final finding or ruling that we violate the law. Definitely the case. That doesn't mean anything. So let me.
What do you mean? Definitely the case, that doesn't mean anything.
I'm saying what I just read is just that. You see what it says? Read it for it.
The complaint is not a final finding or ruling that the defendants have violated the law.
I'm agreeing with that.
Oh,
You agree? Like if they sue you for something right now, that doesn't mean you did it.
True.
That's what that is. So I was just agreeing with that. So all right. So I'm gonna open up this complaint. We'll go through it. Talk about it. That's it. All right, let me share this. But yeah, like y'all doing, just stop me along the way if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. It's all good. This is interactive. Yeah, so this is a complaint, federal complaint filed out there in the Western District of Cali. I'm sorry, Central District of Cali, Western.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
Why don't you write them a income briefs?
Why don't you? I might.
I don't think you got the kahunas.
You know, I don't have. I'm gonna read through it, but I don't have too much of a vested interest. I'm not really. I don't use CRC. I think it sounds like one of the bigger and best software providers, but I have plenty of other things on my table to dig deep into this and try to intervene. I can see if I was using this and had 10,000 customers on it and they're trying to sort of shut it down, that'd be one thing. But so let's look at it. CFPB, let's see, I'm on page 17, it's not too bad. All right. CFPB brings this action under the telemarketing. I'm gonna highlight part. So telemarketing consumer fraud abuse act. So that's that. And so that's the you know, we've been dealing with these laws long enough. That's where we can look up. They call it the Telemarketing Act. And the telemarketing sales rule, which is found here. CFR stands for Code of Federal Regulations. Perez, you know where we can find all these things?
Law, Cornell law.
Yeah, Google. So I want everybody like, where do we find this? I'm glad no one said that. Ain't nothing but a Google away. The Consumer Financial Protection Act, okay, all that. So these are the what, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 laws that they're saying this is based on. And the beautiful thing is we all know how to go look at these laws and read them critically ourselves to sort of form an opinion. The jurisdiction of the court is based on federal law. So we know it's no issue getting to federal court. We can skip through that. Defendants, this is an introduction. They're saying the defendants provided substantial assistance or support. And so I'm curious to see if that's part of the law, because if you're feeding the owners of these companies, that's substantial assistance too. I mean, gosh, they're hungry before they go charge these fees. They want to stop defendants' unlawful conduct, wherever that is, obtain relief, and impose civil penalties on that. Interesting. All right. So the defendant lives there, so that's why the venue is proper. The bureau, and so when they say the bureau, who are you talking about? They're not talking about the credit bureau, because there's no such thing as a credit bureau. The CFPB. Yeah. So that's why I hate when people always talk about, oh, we talk about the bureau it's the CFPB. Yeah. So it was created by that Consumer Financial Protection Act. It's independent authority, has independent litigation authority, may secure relief under that act. So, all right, what a CRC is a private company out there in LA. They've been around since 2013. That's actually low. That's interesting. They've really grown. That's pretty impressive. All the stuff they've done in a short period of time. Daniel Rosen, is the founder and owner. He lives out there in LA. TSR and credit repair service. So credit repair business offers or provides to consumers represented to remove derogatory information. Now, I want y'all to understand something. When y'all read this, you see what we're reading? What are we reading? A complaint. Who wrote this?
CFPB.
All right, the CFPB wrote this. So when we reading this, and who wrote it, we already saw their names, but CFPB's lawyers, correct? So when you read this, are you reading it like it's the Bible or a book, a textbook?
No, kind of like reading just as a story.
But understand who's telling the story. So understand when I'm reading, I'm not agreeing with this stuff. None of this stuff, all these are allegations.
Yes.
So you have to read it with a eye of, a critical eye, I would say. So just because I'm reading it, I'm not necessarily agreeing with it, and you shouldn't agree with it. These are allegations. So you all should be able to look at some of this and agree and disagree, because some of y'all have a credit repair business. So, but anyway, just want y'all to know that, because I'm reading this stuff. These are sentences and they sound good, but understand these are just allegations. These are not law. If we want to see the law, we can go pull this up. And we will, at some of these points, we'll pull stuff up and see if we see something that, corroborates with it. Credit repair business offers or provides to consumers services represented to remove derogatory information from or improve a consumer's credit history or credit rating. All right. Sometimes that's true. Credit repair businesses challenge or dispute negative items that appear on consumers' reports on consumers' behalf. Some such items are supposed to be removed if found to be inaccurate and incomplete, or if they cannot be verified. So you understand, you see how some of this, it reads correct, but you see how it's, telling part of the story, because, they're supposed to be removed or modified, right? Deleted or modified. You can see they're using some words that ring a bell: incomplete, verified. Removed is not one of those words that we would expect to hear from this attorney, right? We would expect to see what, deleted or modified, right?
That's it.
So we seeing right away that they're talking a little casually. And also they're talking about credit repair businesses when they really should be talking about credit repair organizations, right? So we see right away that they're, these people are smart, but they're not really, using the terms of art, as we say. The TSR prohibits, so it's a telephone sales marketing rule, prohibits credit repair businesses. Now, I'm gonna look this rule up and let's see if this is correct, okay? Let's just do an exercise. It prohibits credit repair businesses that telemarket their services from requesting or receiving any fee until they have provided the consumer with documentation in the form of a consumer report from a consumer reporting agency demonstrating that the promised results have been achieved. Now, are any of y'all having some issues already with this?
Yes, because nobody promised anything to begin with.
Who promises what? Who can I promise a result as an attorney?
Nope.
I mean, I promise results.
Well, you service rendered.
We're gonna send the
that's
federalism. What result do you promise, man?
None, because no result is a result.
Yeah, well, yeah. Okay, well, you shouldn't. No one in here should be promising a result. It's actually unethical. Legally, I can, as a lawyer, promise a result. I cannot. You should not, because it's in your law. To me, it's an ethical violation on the lawyer's side. To you, it's a violation of the federal law. So that doesn't make any sense. And that's why I want us to look this up real quick. Such report having been issued more than 6 months after the results were achieved. Well, first of all right, so let's take a look at that. This is ridiculous. 16 CFR 310.4 A2. And by the way, everything we send along the way, y'all should be sort of, this is recorded, but take each along the way, be sort of figuring out. I'm telling y'all some stuff that y'all may know or need to refresh your mind, but we don't promise results. I had somebody call me today about bankruptcy deletion. Is it going to delete? I can't tell you that. They try to pin you down to that. Just like, no, let that money. You rather that money go than someone trying to pin you down to some result that you can't guarantee. All right. See what I'm saying? All money is not good money. So, all right. So 13.4. All right. A2. All right. We're here, right? Abusive tactics. I'm just going to give you all there. Okay. A2. So let's read it. Abusive telemarketing acts or tactics. All right. It is an abusive telemarketing act or practice. Now you see telemarketing, click it. It's very important that y'all click these words, because you think you know what telemarketing is, but I bet y'all don't know what it was in. It means a plan, program, or campaign which is conducted to induce the purchase of goods or services or a charitable contribution by use of one or more telephones, which involves more than one interstate telephone call. So that said a lot. I don't know if y'all caught that, but can someone tell me what an interstate telephone call is?
State to state.
All right, so give me an example.
Florida to Georgia.
Yep. The term does not include the solicitation of sales through the mailing of a catalog. Okay, does not include, which contains a written description or illustration of the goods or services offered for sale, induces the business address of the seller, includes the business address of the seller, includes multiple pages of written material or illustrations, and has been issued not less than frequently than once a year. So at least once a year. When the person making a solicitation does not solicit customers by telephone, but only receives calls initiated by customers in response to the catalog, and during those calls takes orders only without further solicitation. So it's like a Sears catalog, and they calling in specifically to order the particular comfort. And then you don't tell them, well, look, would you be interested also in some pillows and bath mats? For purposes of the previous sentence, the term further solicitation does not include providing the customer with information about or attempting to sell any other item included in the same catalog which prompted the customer's call. So like I was saying, if those things that I mentioned are in the same catalog, I guess they're saying that's not further solicitation. Makes sense? So cool. So it is an abusive telemarketing act or practice and a violation of this rule for any seller. The seller, you click that. It's a person who, and this is important because they're trying to pin down the software company. So seller means any person who, in connection with a telemarketing transaction, provides, offers to provide, or arranges for others to provide goods or services to the customer in exchange for consideration. So let's see if they are calling CRC a seller after we read that, or telemarketer. That's any person who in connection with telemarketing initiates or receives telephone calls from the consumer. So that's the person who makes the call or receives the call. So I'm curious to see how that works. To engage in the following act, and we said A2. We're not doing threats. Requests requesting or receiving payment of any fee or consideration for goods or services represented to remove derogatory information from or improve a person's credit history, record, or credit rating until, all right, we see our list here. The time frame in which the seller has represented all the goods or services will be provided to the person has expired, and the seller has provided the person with documentation in the form of a consumer report from a consumer reporting agency demonstrating that promised results have been achieved. Such report having been issued more than 6 months after the results were achieved. Nothing in this rule should be construed to affect the requirement in the Fair Credit Reporting Act that a consumer may only be obtained, that a consumer report may only be obtained for a specified permissible purpose. Did y'all hear that? So read this part again. The seller has provided the person with documentation in the form of a consumer report from a consumer reporting agency demonstrating that the promised results have been achieved. Who's promising results? Such report having been issued more than 6 months after they were achieved. So 6 months later, you will get paid. Y'all seeing this?
Yeah.
That sounds like
Did
a
he
non-
say?
that
Did he
sounds like
say
a
something? Sorry.
Go ahead. Go right ahead.
Oh, I was saying, did he say something? Are they getting this information like on his website? Did his website say something to that nature?
Well, we'll see. I mean, we'll see what the allegation is, but that's the law they were quoting. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, I already linked it to you. All right. So yeah. So well, first of all, before I close this page, some of y'all will read this and not modify any of your contracts, any of your marketing, and you all what I don't adapt. So now that you've read this, because I know some of you will see, yeah, I say, you know, I might be able to approve their credit or get some deletion. And some of you, I see your posts, I see marketing, and I'm not saying there's anyone in here, but I'm saying I see it all the time. But when you contract with someone, I mean, looking at this, is there anything, and you don't have to say, that you would change about what you're doing? Or is there anything that you would suggest people not do reading this? Basically, I'm trying to hear what y'all take from this. Like, is there anything that you can take from this to sort of not put you
just to make sure that you make it very clear that you cannot promise anything.
not only that you
Maybe.
cannot, but you do not promise any result. That you can't remove any derogatory information. You can't do that. You can't improve a person's credit history, a record, a rating.
that's only done through,
Huh?
it's like that it can only be taken off by the CRA.
Yeah, you
Or
can't do anything. All you can do is what? Type a letter and send it, can't you?
that's it. That's the only thing we can do.
That's what your promise should be. I will type something and send it off on your behalf. Give me your power of attorney, I'll sign it for you and everything with your typewritten signature. So you see what I'm saying? So, you know, when you ultimately have a contract for them to sign, you should not promise that you're going to assist them in removing derogatory information, because you're not. You're going to type a letter and send it for them. You shouldn't promise that you're going to give them a certain result, because if you do, according to this rule, you can't take their money until 6 months after you get their results and all that crap.
So as far as advertisement, you shouldn't really say we remove inaccurate, incomplete, like late payments, blah, 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 blah. it
can't
should
do-
say,
Okay.
we assist you. Well, we shouldn't even say that.
Go, I
Shoot.
mean, I complete your sentence. We'll assist you what?
I was gonna say we assist. It shouldn't say that neither, because it's still getting them to think that you're going to remove these items.
Well, you can, what about we assist you with disputing inaccurate information?
That's
I think
excellent.
that's better.
That's excellent.
Yeah, that's way better.
Yeah. And just make no promises of result or removal and all that stuff, right? I mean, yeah, so it's very important. So anyway, we'll jump out of that and go back to the complaint. But yeah, I want y'all to be sure to take something from this. I mean, otherwise it'd be boring. But because the CFPB comes after the big people, but you understand the consumer, if I wanted to, I can get with consumers and just go after any credit repair organization doesn't want to join my master program. I can be like, look, talk to me. I can walk them through how to get almost everybody. So you may not be worried about the CFPB, but all these things still apply to you, and it's floating around. And what if you're hit with a little case from a little consumer, all that's thinks they're all the wiser? Oh man, well, I didn't get my results. I paid beforehand. So anyway, CFPB not knocking your door, but so after reading that law and coming back here, does that make sense now? What they're saying or alleging? So basically, no fee up front. And this thing, when you got the results, promise. So promise results have been achieved. So you see the difference. Now the Credit Repair Organizations Act, doesn't have that because shit, they tell you not to promise any results. But this right here, if you're going to promise results, like the ones we listed, you're subject to this TSR. Did y'all know that? So
So Brian, so like in Oklahoma, I'm licensed and bonded to do credit repair. And I specifically asked like the head guy, like about charging fees up front. They said that doesn't apply. You exempt from that if you got a bond up to 10,000 or 10,000 more.
who are they talking about?
Well, credit repair companies.
All right. I'm glad
Like you can charge up front up to the amount of your bond.
All right. Okay. And so that's what he told you, right? That's what he told you, right?
Yeah.
All right. So when he said that doesn't apply to you, he said that, right?
Yep.
He works for who?
The state
And so
Department of Consumer Credit.
in the state of Oklahoma. So is he lying?
Nah, he ain't lying.
All right. Is he telling the truth?
Yeah, he telling the truth.
But what truth is he telling?
The state's truth.
Okay. Y'all see what Vance walk y'all through? Y'all, does that make sense to everybody? So
this is federal.
Vance could be in full compliance with Oklahoma law with his license and bond.
But not
And-
federal.
And can he be violating the TSR, the CROA at the same time?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yes or no?
Because what? Yeah, I say yes.
Absolutely.
Because
Absolutely. Absolutely. Very important. Like, this is stuff, I mean, y'all are getting it in a fashion that's a little different. I hope y'all maybe seen some other discussions about it, but you know, who's talking about it in this fashion? You know, because that's a good point Vance is making. You could be in total Vance, licensed, bonded, and everything. They said a state official told him he's exempt from that, what he was talking about. Now, the guy is not lying because he's not concerned about the federal. He's not the federal. He's not the state attorney. So he is only speaking of his enforcement agency, which is the state. He's not talking about federal, right? Now, Edwin, are you on there? I don't know if Edwin's on here.
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
Is that why you would take things like this to federal court and not state court? Will state know this information?
Who would take it there?
You don't assume that anybody knows any information. That's the whole point of, like, say in this case, somebody suing you, you come back with an affirmative defense, or you're going to say it in pleadings, you know, summary judgment motion or something like that.
Next, what's your question? You saying why they took it to federal court? I mean, understand this.
Well, I think I'm a little confused.
Oh, okay.
Because I heard you say, you know, he's in compliance in state, but this is federal information. So I think I'm confused on, will state, like if he was to go to court for state, will that matter? Because he'll be in compliance with state, right? Does that make sense, what I'm trying to say?
It's not I'm not sure if you're confused or if I'm confused.
I think I'm confused.
What's your question? Give me a clean question about what you're talking.
If he was to take, if he was to go, if Vance was to go to court.
For what?
And he go to state court because he was out of compliance.
But why is he going? So understand, he's not walking himself to court like, hey, I'm out of compliance. So what are you saying?
Okay, I'm saying if he was to be sued.
By who?
By federal.
All right, so let's say the CFPB. Okay, for what?
Okay, CFPB. If he was to be sued with CFPB, isn't there a difference between state court and federal court?
Tell me.
And it. Uh-oh. Hello?
Oh, I'm here. We here.
Oh, okay.
I just want you to get your thoughts together because
I'm
confused.
confused.
But you're confused because I don't have a clean understanding. Like, what are you confused about? Because I don't think you're confused. I just think you're just making a confusing scenario.
Okay.
But
so I think my overall question was, if he was to get sued by the court, a federal court.
Nobody, courts don't sue. So you definitely
okay.
Now.
Okay, never mind. I'll just be quiet.
No, you got to talk it out because you can't. I'm not going to let you run away confused. Courts don't sue people. You're trying to say something. I want you to formulate. I don't want to jump in and, like a person is fumbling and trying to,
What she's saying is.
No, you can't say what she's saying.
Oh.
Oh, it's okay. I don't even know how to get it out. I don't even know how to get it out.
Well, keep in mind, as long as I'm on here, you come back and let's figure out. The thing is, you can collect your thoughts, but we can't say what you're saying. So
I got you.
You may be confused, but let's talk it out and cure the confusion. Because when you're confused, it's like, well, what? So give us something to clarify, but don't ever feel like you have to you get silent because you can't learn like that. You're doing good. I mean, you have to, but you got to formulate where the confusion lies, because Yeah, you got to format with computer. CRC's business practices. CRC offers all-in-one solution. They quote this for people to start and run their own credit repair business. Nothing wrong with that. CRC markets and sells services individuals and businesses nationwide. All right. I don't see anything wrong with that. CRC advertises to start a credit repair business using credit profile. All you use is computer, phone, and software. Anybody see anything wrong with that? Nope. CRC targets its clients, individuals, who are seeking to start their own businesses, and advertises that credit repair is the lowest cost and most profitable business you can launch, and that credit repair business is a very affordable startup that costs close to nothing. Anything wrong with that? Anybody see anything wrong with that?
Not really.
Okay. And I encourage y'all, listen, when I be grilling you to get you to spit it out, it's gonna make you better. Don't let that stop you from coming in, because you learn better that way. It's nothing, you do. It's what's wrong with this?
Could be due to false advertisement.
Yeah, it could be false and deceptive. I mean, is it really the lowest cost business you can start? Is it really the most profitable? I mean, that's a pretty reaching. So you see that? A very affordable startup. That's not too bad, is it? Costs close to nothing. Well, how much is that? A penny? That's a problem. CRC can cost you a couple $100 a month, I believe. Vance can add that up. See, Vance, when I say how much something is a month, how much is that, Vance, over the year?
Shit, 2,400.
See, he turns to a calculator when it comes down to monthly fees. Human calculator. So
Instant.
yeah, close to nothing. Get out of here. So anyway, that's problematic. So you gotta be real careful. And we might have to do this. Huh?
They saying he has over 20,000 people doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Subscribe to that.
So 20,000 times 200, is that, how much is that? 20,000.
That's a whole bunch of millions in there.
Not like, is that 4 million? Oh,
A whole bunch of millions.
Yeah, 4 million.
a month?
A month.
A month?
Yeah.
Warren, what's up, man? What? Why we didn't start this, Warren?
I know that's more than you're making. Holy crap!
Man, I don't make that. I make that in 2 lifetimes.
I mean, that's about where Vance is, maybe.
Dude.
Let me see. Let me make sure my math is right. Dang, Warren, why didn't we come up with this? So he has, he has over 20,000 people.
Where's my high school guidance counselor, man?
That's 4 million a month. God.
But
Who's the
based
guy's
on-
counselor?
If he's guilty, he would be responsible for paying all that money back plus a little more.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Lord have mercy. So well, that's software. Now, I charge you $200 a month, but I'm actually training. You charge $200 a month.
We need a
that's with no training.
we need a finder's fee, man. Can you make a plan like
They have an affiliate program.
yeah, yeah, man. Hook me up.
No, I mean, we're talking. I have that too. I mean, a couple of people say they want to do it. We're gonna get that going. But
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying make.
oh, okay.
Let's do a competition. You know what I mean? Let's
right.
do a competition and like put $1,000 on the line. You know,
yeah,
$1,000 on the line and a month free.
You need to bring all those people in here so you can
Get the most. I'm down.
All right. I can tell you right now, we're gonna have to do this over a couple sessions because you can see how important it is. But I want to say this too. You know, some of you come here live, some of you look at recordings, but all of the stuff we're going through is designed to hopefully you take back and you adapt your business model. Like I'm always adapting these templates I do, and sometimes it works to my detriment because sometimes some stuff takes a while for me to release, but yeah, you have to adapt. So now that you're seeing you shouldn't be making these promises, you know, in a certain way, you should really think through about what you're promising. Ultimately, it really should be contract based, but advertising, you know, is a violation too. So we can't say, well, no, my contract says I can't do any of this stuff, but you advertise something different. So you have to be careful. CRC uses software that provides, among other things, a customer service CRM system. Through the CRM, users can track, organize customer details and activities, including customer names, contact information, the date they signed up for credit repair, and whether consumers are up to date on their payments for credit repair services. The software also allows CRC users to import and review their customers' credit reports, and software automatically flag negative items on the reports. The software contains a database of 100 template letters. Does anyone in here have CRC?
I used to before I met you.
Okay. I mean, you could have kept it after meeting me. You just have to change those letters.
Nah, no.
It's too difficult to change it.
No, it's not difficult at all. It's just everything is BS.
Yeah, it's like
once you
everything.
learn,
it's like you paying $200 to just host my real letters.
yeah. Once you learn, you see you start to see all the mistakes and why pay for it if you're not going to use it.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking you can save it, you can use it for your clients. But I mean, if you just organize them in an Excel sheet and make sure that your computer is not going to get hacked and have protection over it. I left it alone after last year when I met you.
Yeah, I don't use it. I tried to look at it one time, and like Nev, everything was such garbage that I don't mean to call it that garbage, but it was really nothing template wise I could use. And then unless someone's going to walk me through how to populate my template, make it make sense, I didn't see any use for it. But anyway, I was just curious anyone to use it. I mean, some of the bigger people, I mean, some people use it and really scale, but like I said, I just didn't. Being a boutique type, I don't really have hundreds and thousands of people I'm working with. So I guess the best part probably is CRM. But yeah, anyway, the software automatically pre-populate the customer information, allowing CRC to generate letters to mail to CRAs. I have another guy that put together a system that I think I showed y'all earlier. It's real reasonably priced, but again, I haven't really utilized that either. But the software allows CRC users to track. I need to build my own system to track particular dispute items.
It's real cheap to do it. It's not expensive at all.
Yeah. I mean, I actually, like I said, some of you already have. I have, a letter generator for the collections, and any of you that have that, I'm going to expand that to really include all the letters we have. The thing is, it's not going to be a CRM, it's just going to be a generator, so eventually I do want to get with my software guy and sort of combine the two, a generator, and something else. But yeah, that generator right now attacks collections, but GP Plus is ultimately I'm going to house everything else. So everybody, if you have it, you grandfathered in. I'm not going to change the pricing. It's just going to be able to generate any of the letters we have. Because, if you have assistants or virtual assistants, all you got to do is point them to your generator, and all they're doing is inputting, because there's less room for error if you're just inputting specific data and it's generating from that data. So the formatting and all that stuff is not going to get lost or hurt. So that's what I do have. And then from there, like Neff said, I mean, you can just sort of keep track of it in some other Excel or fashion calendar. The software contains templates for CRC users to supply. Like I said, all the templates, I did not see anything that's usable. And once you all are educated like you are, you may find yourself not using any of their templates. The users can connect the software with a third-party billing platform that allows CRC users to set up monthly recurring billings for their customers. Through the software, CRC users can track customer activity and key performance indicators, such as average revenue. In addition, the software provides training programs on how to start and run credit repair businesses. And see, if you have that, I don't know if they have anything like this that really teaches you what the heck you're doing, because a template looks, before y'all met me, a template looks great, right? I mean, until you know it's not. So anyway, telemarketing sales scripts, template marketing materials, and template websites. So you'll see anything about education about the consumer laws, what you can do and can't do. But again, these are allegations, so we don't know if CRC has that. Y'all have to let me know. CRC makes clear on its website that the goal for CRC users is to remove derogatory information from or improve their customer's credit history. Okay. So that's not quoted, so we know that the drafter just said that, but now we got some quotes. In a section of the website entitled Introduction to How does credit repair work? Credit Repair Cloud lays out steps for disputing negative items with the 3 nationwide consumer reporting agencies using the template letters the company provides. The final step listed on the page is, over time, negative items are corrected and the customer score goes up. The client is thrilled and keeps paying your monthly fee. So obviously, I don't think the CFPB likes that. That's pretty good language that can hurt. Well, bad language, I would say, that can hurt. On the same page, in response to the question, how do successful credit repair companies make a profit? Credit Repair Cloud states that such companies, among other things, deliver what they promise. Okay. Yeah, be careful about that. I mean, nothing wrong with delivering what you promise. You got to be careful about what you promise. The template marketing materials that Credit Repair Cloud provides to users, including printable pamphlets, flyers, and business cards, make clear what those promises are. Here we go. Most people can raise their credit scores by 50 to 100 points by following our program. Oh my gosh. What y'all think?
Wrong.
Credit issues, we can help. Most credit reports contain errors that can lower your score to keep you from living life you deserve. Any problem with that? That's true. Credit repair issues, we can help. Yeah, you can help. Most credit reports contain errors. That's true. That's factual. Anybody have a problem with that one? But most people, I mean, most is like over 50%. I mean, that's pretty strong. Anyway, we can get your life back so you can get approved for a mortgage and get approved. And it's like the slight words, we can help. So we can get is a strong promise. Like, so if I sign up with them, Warren, they can get my life back, you know? They're not going to help me or may be able to help me. They can get it back because I lost my life and I want to get it back.
That's pretty strong language.
Yeah, so it's just the simple stuff. It's not, but we can help you get your life back. It's not as bad as we can get your life. Like, sign up, give me your money, I'll get your life back so you can get approved for your mortgage. Just like, it sounds pretty definite.
So Brian, would that be considered as deceptive and misleading?
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it would be, like they got a whole book. Like there's a whole book about deceptive practices And that kind of advertisement would be from a consumer, because they're saying we sell to business owners, but some of these people are repairing their own credit and others. So, anyway, we'll see how it goes. In addition to providing instruction and materials, CRC facilitates networking among its users and through social media. I just joined a Facebook group, so they need a lot of education in there. Jeez. Credit Repair Cloud hosts an annual credit repair conference, and it created a private community chat group on Facebook. Don't send them this. Through which users solicit feedback on their websites and advertisements, or ask questions regarding other things, legal compliance, issues related to credit repair. The private group provides an opportunity for users to ask questions to other members. Facebook group. Dan Rosa participates. So, can y'all figure out if there's something wrong with this part? So, my guess would be, Bill Gates.
It is.
Bill Gates doesn't participate, in us, in what we're doing. He doesn't have a Facebook group where we can talk and ask questions, get back and forth. So it's the participation. Like a true software company doesn't really participate in your business model. Like, here's the software, you need support, technical support, that's one thing. But I think in this paragraph, they're trying to show how this software company is very intertwined in almost working alongside its users. That's my guess. The Roller Rosen, he's the owner, controls the finances, participates directly in the classes on credit repair. He's a speaker on the training. He writes the blog posts, how to convert customers into paying customers, how to collect fees. He wrote a book on how to start and run the business. He sends emails to prospective and CRC users. He markets the training. All right. CRC users have been violating TSR by telemarketing and charging up. Again, I don't see how what they're doing has to do with CRC, but CRC users offer credit repair services. Okay. At least some, and many likely users are engaged in telemarketing, and therefore, and we read what telemarketing is. It's not just picking up the phone for everybody, but y'all remember? You can look at it. Therefore, they're required to comply with TSR. Okay. At least some, and likely many, use toll-free numbers on their websites, on social media, and conduct telephone calls with consumers in one or more states to induce customers to purchase a credit repair service. Okay, well, nothing's wrong with that. And remember, it says they're required to comply. And remember, that is not, don't get lost in that, because are they really required to comply? What if they're not making a promise of a result? Remember, the TSR applied under certain conditions that we read. So just because you're telemarketing about credit repair doesn't mean the TSR applies, but it does apply if you look at that 16 CFR 310.482, you'll see how it applies. Nevertheless, at least some users have been charging fees to consumers well in advance of the waiting period imposed by TSR. Okay, I'm sure that's true. Specifically, some users charge an initial fee at the time of enrollment, followed by monthly recurring fees. Okay, sure, that's true. Therefore, users have been violating TSR. CRC have encouraged and facilitate both the use of telemarketing. And, okay, so this paragraph, I'm trying to see, there's a complaint. Counts. All right, so down here they try to spell it out, but just from reading this is very poorly drafted, because as we read, the TSR only applies. All credit repair services don't necessarily trigger the TSR. Do y'all understand that? Or do I need to pull it back up? Let me see.
No, I don't understand.
All right, so A4, abusive telemarketing. So A2. So this is abusive practice. We already said what telemarketing is. Campaign. If you request or receive payment for goods or services represented to remove derogatory information from or improve a person's credit history or credit rating. Okay. So that's the kind of services. You see that? So what if you provide a service that does not represent to remove? What if you provide a service that does not represent to improve a person's credit history, record, or rating? Does the TSR apply under here? Y'all have to unmute, let me know you know what's up. Y'all see what I'm saying? So you're gonna, is you best not represent that you're gonna remove derogatory information. You best not represent that what you're doing is going to improve their credit history, their credit record, or their credit rating. If you don't listen to me and you do represent that you're going to do that, then you can't get paid for 6 months. And most likely, are you telemarketing to them? You're a seller, unless they're in your same state. So if it's in interstate type of the seller, it's a person who arranges and telemarketer initiates or receives telephone calls. Okay. All right, telemarketing, remember, state to state. So I'm sure most of you are communicating with people state to state. At least one time they're gonna jump on the phone. But anyway, this rule here does not just apply because you're doing credit repair. You have to be making those particular promises to remove derogatory information or improve a person's credit history. So if you can avoid doing that, then the TSR may not apply. And if you're not making these calls or whatever. So understand that that's not a broad application of that TSR as they're making it seem. CRC and Rosen have encouraged users to telemarket. All right, well, I'm sure they have. That's what they're saying. CRC encourages their users to provide a telephone number on their website. Some people want to speak to a real person. Yeah, okay. I mean, obviously you put your number on there, they're going to call, you call them. All right, so, okay. I don't know what the problem is there, but.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. Do you know why they want to talk, bro?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I mean, waste your time.
Bro, just yeah, right. Yeah.
So
I just assume that group of people, want to talk. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not, you put something on a website, that's content you got to read, So, but the people who you catering to, they're not inclined to read. They see that phone number, they just gonna dial it.
So through blog posts, if anyone have any questions, you can jump in, but the blog posts available on CRC's website, this book, podcast, says creating a killer sales script for credit repair services. When creating a script, your sales representatives, prospects, especially on the phone, building opportunities to share their passion and energy is key. Providing templates for the calls, perfect sales script. All right. Credit Repair Cloud and Rosen have encouraged and facilitated CRC's users charging of advanced fees. All right, well, all right, well, let's see what's the problem with that. They encourage the users to charge customers an enrollment with monthly fees thereafter. All right. CRC advises users to charge initial fee after doing some initial document processing. Okay, well, that's not a okay. Well, that's an initial fee, but that's after. It says after doing. So I don't think that's wrong about that. Followed by monthly recurring fees. Does anyone see a problem with that? So you do some work, get paid the initial fee, do some more work and get paid monthly fees. That's actually not a problem. So let's look at this. Can I charge upfront fees for credit repair? CRC says this is how they get paid. They import a report, send off a round of letters about 10 minutes worth, and then they charge a first work fee. Is there a problem? That's good. And every month they send off another round of letters or click, and then they charge a monthly fee. Okay. So my read of that, this is actually good. You perform some work and get paid for it. Now, where they get the people is once you put the TSR with it, now you have a problem. Y'all see that? So if the people did not trigger the TSR, they would be in compliance with CROA. Do y'all see how that, why I say that? CRC's materials guide users to charge initial fees followed by a monthly recurring fee. See, okay, see, that's not what they said. I mean, but the initial fee, see, there's nothing wrong with that. It's like, that's what they're saying as allegation, but they said the initial fee is charged after they do something. For example, the template contracts provided by CRC are pre-populated with blanks for users to fill in the blank for their first work fee and the monthly fee. Okay, but they just describe how that works. And the software integrates a billing platform, pays for itself with all the revenue it collects for you. Well, okay. CRC, neither CRC nor Rosen instruct or encourage users to wait to charge. Why you don't have to encourage? Okay, they just said how you do it. This is getting worse and worse as I read it. The website says how to do it exactly. You do work, you charge a first work fee. You do more work, you charge a fee after that, and continue, you know. And then they're saying neither. This is the dumbest thing I've seen by the CFPB. So anyway, you know, they say neither. You don't have to. Why you don't have to instruct or encourage them. So here's the thing. Yeah, they don't instruct or encourage them to wait the 6 months, but how do they know what this CRO is representing or promising? They didn't write their ad. You see what I'm saying? So how do they know whether or not this is a TSR type credit repair or a non-TSR credit repair? Because the TSR one is making these particular promises, which under this Credit Repair Organizations Act shouldn't be doing anyway. Right? But at least to a certain extent, but CRC encourages the charging of advanced fees by holding out as models certain users who employ a business model that violates TSR. Okay. I don't know the violation of. I'm saying I don't know what CRC, what is it doing though? It's like providing clothes to a bank robber. You know they're going to rob a bank. So you help them clothe themselves for this robbery. And many of CRC's social media postings, it advertises Millionaires Club, showcasing users who obtain 1 million in revenue, suggesting that its advertisements that new users can also achieve that same success. Here's the thing, this is a case. Remember, we said it's about TSR and all this. It's not deceptive practices. So I keep hearing all these financial promises, but I'm not sure where they're going with that. For instance, Credit Repair Cloud advertises that users can build their dream business and learn how to become a credit repair millionaire from industry leaders. Okay, fine. You can. That sounds about right. You can learn how to do that. You can build your dream business. Okay, that's definitely possible. CRC highlights. You have a question. So Joy is asking, do the state laws supersede the TSR and CROA, for instance, in PA, as long as you're, well, we just talked about that earlier. Where are you, Joy?
No.
We just talked about that earlier. Vance posed that question. He can do everything under the sun in Oklahoma, the man said. But no, it does not trump federal law. You have to follow all the laws. So like, for example, there's some, maybe like a weed law. But if you're in a state that allows weed, you can do that. You just can't do it interstate. You can't do it in the air. So like, I don't think you can do it. I think once you get so far in the air, there's federal space. And so neither can you go across state lines doing the weed and say, well, in Vegas, I can do it. So anyway, but that's a good question. But we sort of talked about that earlier. CRC highlights the business practices models of the millionaires. Rosen encourages users to charge enrollment fees and monthly. They keep repeating themselves. Did y'all see that? It keeps repeating themselves, like, but they said how that fees works. The worst part is whether it's a TSR person. But again, if it is, what does CRC have to do with if they do stuff that makes them TSR non-compliant? In the first book, people charge in different ways: flat fee, pay-per-deletion. For all the models we see, charging a one-time first work fee followed by a month affordable recurring fees is always the ticket to high revenue. Since each client takes less than 5 minutes processing per month, a small reasonable monthly fee is appropriate. So okay, that's fine. All right, their knowledge of users violations. Okay, see, I'm not gonna read too much of this because, okay, so they know what some people are doing. All right, violation TSR. The Bureau is authorized to enforce CSR. Okay, great. All right, they're doing a consumer financial product or service. Okay. That's includes financial advisory services, including credit counseling, collecting, analyzing, maintaining or providing consumer report information, including information relating to history of consumers, credit history. All right, y'all can pull that up and see that definition. TSR seller, we already talked about that. I showed you, we went through the seller, TSR seller. TSR telemarketing, we read that already. Telemarketing, we read that definition of the plan, program. All right, they're using telemarketing, sure. They may fall under telemarketing, and they have a plan that they use the phones for, interstate wise. There's sellers. because they fit under the definition. Okay, great. We're good with that. All right, they're telemarketed under this TSR. Great. Now here we go again. We're back to this definition that we read. You see how important it is we read that? They're saying it's abusive act for them to receive payment until this particular time frame has expired, and you provide a report 6 months after. Okay, this is very important. The CRC users have made representations to consumers that their credit repair business would remove. Okay, see, that's the problem. You shouldn't make those representations. Now, I don't see where they made them. That's just a bald-faced allegation. Their users have made it. Not CRC, but the users have done that. Okay, well, I can't control. I have the software and all this. I have a software that I put in the Tesla, for example. I can't control how Warren drives that thing. CRC users have routinely requested and received payment for a fee for their services before the time frame. Okay. But are they the same users that represented that TSR crap? That's a question. Count one. This complaint's crap. Let me see. Avoid it. I do not see how this is going to, I don't see how this. So violation of TSR by CRC. How did they violate? All right, if previously a person provided substantial assistance. So I need to go see this. Maybe this is going to help me. Let's go look at this. 16 CFR 310.3B. Let's see if they're providing substantial assistance. Send me a check, I'll go. All right, so 310.3B. Let's go take a look. Let's go take a look. What does that make sense? Maybe it makes sense if I read for the talking about. 310.3B. Very good. All right, here we go. Assisting and facilitating. So let's see if they're assisting. It is a deceptive telemarketing act. We already know what telemarketing is. Or practice in a violation of this rule for a person to provide substantial assistance or support to any seller. Okay, it's not defined. When that person knows or consciously avoids knowing that the seller is engaged in the act that violates 310 ACD or 4, which is 310 AC or 4, 310.3A. All right, so let me go back to it. All right. Credit card laundering. All right. Provide substantial assistance or support to any seller or telemarketing that the person knows or consciously avoids knowing that the seller is engaged. Okay, so I can see how they can twist this. So they're saying CRC knows that they're providing substantial assistance or support. Now, that's going to really be important to understand what they mean by that, substantial assistance or support, because I didn't read anything about CRC making those users represent that they can remove stuff and improve credit. I can see how CRC purports that its software can help those users do that, but I didn't see where it said that they need to make that representation as such to the end consumer. But we can certainly see here how, you know, this argument can be made.
What if he's providing marketing materials that says that?
Well, yeah, that would do it. Did you read that in there? Did they provide marketing materials? Sounds
You know, they did, but I didn't go that far.
I'm talking about in this complaint. I saw something about training
Oh.
materials, but yeah, they provide marketing materials. I can see how that.
I remember you said that they had a script too, so maybe, you know, they got that from the script that they use and the marketing materials that they use, maybe.
Yeah. So that script had that. I could see how that can be very problematic, and that's why they're probably in court on there. But CRC is a person, sure, provides substantial assistance. All right, here we go. Telemarketing scripts, like you said, marketing materials. So those marketing materials. Oops. Marketing materials. Okay, that's looking like substantial assistance there. Pre-populated template. All right, well, yeah, well, this other stuff I can appreciate how that's a problem, but the script, you telling them what to say and represent and market to the people, I would like to, I mean, it would have been better. This alone doesn't, it should say scripts that say this, marketing materials that say that. So I'm very suspect because I would quote out what this marketing material says that would trigger the TSR. Again, they consciously know, and you see, I don't read too closely when they start doing allegations where there's no quotes. This is just an allegation. You're just what they call parroting what the law says, but what exactly was done? Y'all notice that? They're just saying they did what they were not supposed to do. But you're not quoting. We read A2. Rosen participated directly. Really, how? I mean, to provide, you know, so when you don't see quotes, this is a bunch of malarkey, the president would say. Rosen is known to have been reckless. No, come on. That's, again, that's your opinion. CRC and Rosen violate TSR's ban on the system.
Hey, Brian.
What's that?
How much would you charge somebody and represent them on something like this?
Oh, this probably be like a $30,000 retainer for this kind of case.
Gotcha.
To start. This case, this case is going. This case is gonna take a lot of work.
From what I saw, it already started way back in September of 2020, way before that.
The precursor. Well, I think maybe 19, but the whole investigation started a couple of years ago. I mean, just they've been working this case as far as just trying to get information from CRC a couple of years ago. This case, now you understand $30,000 is not a lot of money to Rosen, but that will be, you know, at least get started. He's going to spend, a few million, I'm sure, fully defending this. And I can promise you, well, I'm not gonna say that. I'm gonna stop. You gotta be careful what you say. I can imagine this will end in some type of resolution where he's going to change some of this marketing material. He's going to, just reading this, I can see some places where they need to change. We see that, right? So I would be surprised if he over the last couple of years, he hadn't tried to make some of these changes. If his lawyers really read through what the issues are here, should have encouraged some types of changes and instruction so that when people deviate from that, they're on their own. But you should not make promises. You should not represent you can improve or remove, and just call it a day and have people sign off on that and don't produce any marketing materials to provide your users that say anything differently. Does that sound pretty simple? I mean, but I can see, but you making, how much is that? Almost 50 million a year. And doing stuff that looks like this, yeah, CFPB loves that. So Rosen provides us again. I'll be honest with you. I mean, this complaint on its face, I think it I don't think it really fits. I think if I were to advise, I think this case, I think it states a claim in the complaint. I would answer, but I would still try to dismiss it for not stating a claim. But I believe that would fail, but that would make the CFPB work. But then again, being able to amend it, I really like this complaint as it's written from the defense standpoint from CRC, because if you end up answering this, I think you can get a judgment on the pleadings because the allegations don't really support that providing the assistance without knowing what that those marketing materials and things. They listed some good things, but it doesn't say, it's conclusory. So, okay, provide marketing materials, but there's no specifics that the marketing materials make their users TSR applicable, for the TSR is applicable. Does that make sense? So, I don't know. I mean, it's a federal law. I think that's the issue. Demand for relief. Yeah. So, yeah, I apologize to Daniel for saying his letters were trash, but I do think they are trash. He could always license my letters for $100,000 a month. But I think that as written, this is probably one of the poorest CFPB complaints I've read. Good question, Joy. I'm going to jump on that. Yeah, I think this is one of the poorly written complaints. It's actually pretty short. It took us a long time to get through it, 16 pages, but some other CFPB complaints are more detailed. I think it's pretty short. I'm not impressed with it. I wonder if they even got their hands on the exact marketing materials, because they're not quoted, they're not pictured. Again, I think that this will survive any motion to dismiss because I think it on its face states a claim. However, I think the lawyers can formulate an argument that a lot of these allegations are conclusory and should not be taken as true. So you remember we didn't find too many quotes in here. So most of these allegations on a failure to state a claim won't be taken as true because they're not factual allegations. We did find some quoted material that was concerning, but it didn't really implicate TSR necessarily. So, you know, if a lot of time and research and briefing is spent, and you know, you have a limit to how much you can brief, but I think that this can be briefed to knock out a lot of those conclusory allegations. And when you look at the factual allegations that are quoted and not conclusory, I think this could get a dismissal. However, obviously the CFPB can come back and amend to correct those issues, you know, after they're fully briefed before the case is kicked out. So that's why I was saying, I think a better strategy perhaps would be to come and answer this and file for a motion for judgment on the pleadings, because at the end of the day, the allegations just don't implicate CRC and Rosen how they think it does. It's a lot of non-factual allegations that are just conclusory that really would not support the case. So I feel good. I feel pretty good about CRC in this, but this obviously will all be dictated by his defense team and how they approach this. You know, and you have to be very careful. His defense team, and here's where we're going to get into some areas that a lot of people don't want to talk about, but his defense team, I would say, should sort of walk him through that, what I just said. Let's see, you have a question here. So Tony V was like, yeah, no violation of the PROA. Yeah. And obviously when we get down to it, I mean, these final violations here just don't, it's unlawful to provide a financial product committed act in violation of consumer financial consumer law. Okay, so they're sort of making it full circle. So yeah, yeah, I may provide this analysis to David, but yeah, I feel really, I mean, again, I think it's a lot of things you have to be careful with. I don't think the complaint is written, I don't think it's very good. I don't think it'll survive. But again, my fear is, like, if the CFPB heard what I'm saying, they could easily go back and fix it. Just like if CRC's legal team takes what I'm saying and attacks the complaint and move to dismiss it, then they could come back. That's always the risk. We move to dismiss, they can come back and fix it, amend it. But then if you do a motion for judgment on the pleadings, and I'll show y'all where that comes from. Yeah, Tony, so the reason I don't think it's a core violation because they're not directly, marketing and contracting with consumers to fix their credit is, it's more of a, yeah, it's not a direct CRO situation. They're marketing to business people that are in the business of doing it. So the CRA, the core violation, if any, would be to the users. So let me go to what I'm talking about, and then we're going to wrap up. So let's see, Rule 12. So under Rule, sorry, let me share my screen. So under Federal Rules of Civil Procedure 12B, they could try to dismiss this under 12B6 for failure to state a claim. But like I'm saying, I don't think it would be successful. I don't think, I think the court would let it go, but I really don't think they state a claim. The reason it might, the reason why I think it wouldn't be successful is the court would let some of those allegations be treated as truthful and not legal conclusions. That's going to be the turning point, because the stuff that's quoted that are true factual allegations and not conclusory, it does not really support the claim here. So it would take probably, a few attorneys to sort of figure out whether that would be a good approach or not, because, that can take months to, well, it's not going to take, it can take months to resolve. So you're going to have a period, they're going to, CRC has 20 or more days, depending on, what, 21 days, or if they waive 60. So they have a few weeks to figure out what they want to do, want to answer, or move to dismiss. But again, that with a 12B6, if you do a great job with it, then CFPB can just double up and amend its complaint. So it's one of those things. Now, what I was suggesting also is you could answer and then do a motion pursuant to 12C, judgment on the pleadings, because you can plead and answer and deny, and then ask the court to rule on what's before the court on the paper only. And I think they would win, because a lot of these allegations are just straight conclusion. It doesn't fully walk you through that these users of TSR, entities, that qualify as TSR is just real conclusion. And I don't think they're led fully. So it's a real tough decision, but most people, I think the wise thing to do is to try to challenge the claim they're trying to make, walk the court through the allegations that a conclusion should be considered as truthful, and really invest in trying to get that thing dismissed. And even with a Rule 12C motion, they can still amend, because remember, you can amend. Oops. This is how the amendment works. Rule 15A1, as a matter of course. That means you don't need permission. A party may amend its pleading once as a matter of course within 21 days of serving it, or if the pleading is one where a response is required, 21 days after service of a responsive pleading, or 21 days after a motion. So under 12B, E, or F. Now, okay, well, actually, okay, so 12B. Now, if they do a 12, like I said, 12C, so if you do a 12C, then you have to, because see, 12C will do, you have to, you will answer. So 12C, if you answer, let's see how much time you have to do a 12C. You can do that anytime, really. So 12C, if you answer, so they could answer. So if you answer, wait 30 days and then file a 12C, they can't amend unless they get court's permission. So, you know, that's a thought. Again, you know, it really depends on how those judges have been treating complaints and how they've been dealing with conclusory allegations, letting these things slide and letting the claim go forward. But if they filed a motion, if they answered and then waited over 21 days so that the amendments can happen as a matter of course, and then file a Rule 12C motion for judgment on the pleadings, I think that would be pretty good, because the pleadings just don't really support this case. I think it's pretty sloppy. I don't know why they went so sloppy with this one, because you really could have gotten really detailed with the advertising, marketing materials, and things like that. And it didn't do that. So I feel pretty good for CRC. But again, it's really going to be, it's going to take a good amount of briefing and focus and things like that. But from what I'm seeing, it just doesn't seem that salacious. But it's a serious case. You know, the point is you want to do everything you can up front and try to knock this thing down. It's going to require some legal fees, but it's going to be totally worth it, because otherwise, the CFPB is going to really try to make a big splash because of the amount of revenue, you know, it's generating. So I think you should efficiently spend what's necessary to get this done, and understand what I just said. You know, hopefully you have to understand, because you don't want to just defend this just to go through the motions. And what I want to tell you, a lot of people want to talk about, you know, this case, you got a client making $4 million a month. You know, you don't want your legal team just to sort of go through the motions and let this drag out for years. You really want to try to attack this head on in the beginning, because for the reasons I just stated, I think it really has a lot of holes in it. And I think you should really take advantage of that and try to get this thing thrown out, even sanctioned against the attorneys representing CFPB if necessary, because a lot of this stuff, unless they have some proof, this doesn't make sense. I mean, the link they're making between CRC and its users, knowing, you know, without quoting these marketing materials and things, to sort of say that they're telling people to make these exact promises and representations, I think it's a problem. So anyway, that's that. Anybody have any questions on it? I think we're gonna pick up Tuesday and talk about pro se litigation. Pro se litigation, I'm going to talk about how we're going to include in this credit mastery, some pro se support on your cases. So I want to talk about that in some more detail. That's going to help a lot of you out because it's going to be it's very difficult for some of you in these different jurisdictions to get representation. And this would be for yourself. Now for your clients, this is not pro se support for your clients, it's for you. So if you have a client that has a case that needs to get done, you may have a power of attorney and all that stuff in it, but technically, if that person's going pro se, then they need to jump in here and get this knowledge. But you still gonna get your pro skill, assignment, right? But you have to bring them in here because that's their case. So, but if you have your own case, I really encourage you all, before trying to be Superman and Superwoman to help someone else, you take your case and let's run it through, and you run it through your, the pro se support in here. And then eventually you take assignment of other people and you can bring them through. They'll have to stay forever. I mean, if they want to come in, do their case and run, fine. But ultimately, whoever's case is getting pro se support would have to be in credit mastery. And ultimately, obviously, have to have a comparable package. So if they have a bankruptcy case, they'll need either a lifetime package or the particular package they're working on. If they have a credit card case, they need to have the applicable materials. Does that make sense? And so I'm going to provide that support. Now, of course, that's labor intensive. So, that support, it'll be some type of assignment, for that support that I'll work out with whoever's case it is, but, something very nominal so that there's room for you and it makes sense. But we're going to provide that support. We'll take a few minutes for some Q&A, but we'll revisit the pro se, and we'll outline how it's going to work and everything. But for now, let's take a little Q&A, and then we will drop off and go on to bed or whatever you need to do. Okay, so Joy say, hey, answer my question. Anything users, users need to be concerned about plenty. Users should be, let me see if I can do it. Let's see. Let's see here. That's pretty good. Give me a second. Let's see. Okay. Oh, okay. So users should be concerned about. They should be concerned about, PROA. They should be concerned about TSR. They should be concerned about, state credit repair laws. They should be concerned about that anyway. They should be concerned about deceptive practices. Yeah, payment processing, because a lot of these payment processors don't, like credit repair. But these are concerns that they should have even before this CFPB complaint. But even with, here's the thing. So now that the CFPB is going to be able to get a lot of information and discovering who the users are, CFPB could literally take all those 20,000 users and do a big action against all of them to give everybody their money back. That's the fear. Okay. And honestly, I would like to share this with David, because he put in the CRC group on Facebook that this is between him and the CFPB and no one should worry about it. Well, how do y'all feel about that after what you just read?
You mean Daniel, right?
What'd I say?
You said David.
Oh yeah, Daniel Rosen. So he said, and by the way, like I said, I think it has like #1 software. So I don't know. I don't know. A lot of people can't take constructive criticism, but do y'all think this is a pretty good analysis of this case and pretty good analysis of implications to others? What do y'all think?
Yeah.
If you were Daniel Rosen, would you want this information? You wouldn't want to post in your group, or what?
Absolutely not.
Don't post in this group, Warren. I'll
He needs a good lawyer.
Well, I'm sure. He's been working with lawyers since that investigation started. But like I said, he did a post that said, "Look, I know y'all heard about it. This has nothing to do." I don't blame him, because, imagine 20,000 people freaking out and jumping off. That's $4 million goes down to what? Zero. But most of the people with that CRM, you sort of married to it. It's like Warren, he'll never leave his wife. And so
A lot of CROs use that software. I don't know why, but I said I know a lot of CROs that use that software. I don't know why, because like you said, after you meeting you and you read those letters, I feel like my 11-year-old son can write better letters.
Yeah, I believe it. And that's the unfortunate truth. And I hate that. But again, I think his software is so successful because of the CRM. I honestly,
the CRM is very good, but that's about it. And some of their marketing materials, that's good. But here's the thing: when I inquired about using them, I didn't particularly want to use their letters, especially after seeing some of them. And but the marketing material is very good, and the CRM.
So it doesn't let you change.
But you don't have to use their letters. You can do your own.
Yeah, I know. But when I called and I inquired about could I just buy the marketing material, they told me that I couldn't do that.
Well, yeah, in that regard, I could see them saying no. But once you're a user, it's like a one-stop shop for everything. They give you the website, they get you hooked up with the payment processor. Your letters are preloaded. So when you don't know what you're doing, it's just, click and go.
Which I've met a lot of I don't know what to call them, if I even should give them that title of CROs. There's a lot of people out here that are doing credit repair, and they have, like you said, they're just point and click.
Because honestly, even when I got into the industry, I came in through CRC, and I actually do still use their software. But as I went on, I changed things, to suit my business operations so that they don't operate that way. And it's not, even if there was no legality surrounding it jams you up, because they do have so many users, and they stop seeing good results from the letters because they started to identify that, hey, this is a CRC letter. We just going to do a stall tactic and say, we think you're a credit repair organization, sending this letter in. So
Until you use Brian's letter.
right in the system. That's right.
Yeah. So
But Brian, that honestly, it's funny that you identified that because that is what made me send the complaint into the group and say, wait a minute, because I'm like, wait a minute, Daniel, you saying don't worry about it, but don't be trying to throw us under the bus either now, getting in there saying, hey, I just provide a software service. I don't have anything to do with how these, users operate, and then have, like you said, the 20,000 people being investigated or part of some type of class.
well, yeah. So that's again, if I was Daniel, I'll probably say the same thing. He's trying to protect his business, but clearly his users are going to be discovered through the discovery process. And I think before this lawsuit was filed, that the CFPB was trying to collect some of this information. So
Yep, they were.
Because now if they're going to get a user, again, I mean, 20,000, it's like individually it's nothing, but the CFPB with 20,000 people violating, I mean, that's a slam dunk for them to be able to just name all of these folk, look at all of their, I mean, that's a lot. I mean, this could turn into, like I said, if you don't cut this head off, this can turn into next, you could take a decade, 2 decades to sift through. I don't know. You can get these 20,000 people and determine that they're all violating TSR. I mean, that's a lot of money. I mean, that's okay. So do you understand how big this is? Because these 20,000 people, let's say half of them are active, so 10,000 charging
The average
all of
user
their clients
charges like
$100.
$99 a month.
But yeah, but they don't have one client.
Right.
They have dozens of clients. So that's bigger than this case.
Yeah, because that's his model is to bring your clients in $99 down and $99 a month.
So let's just say even a third of his people are, the math really gets crazy. So let's say you have 20, so 20,000.
And then he's pushing a lot of his users, but he has this, I don't know, this once a year conference where they become multi-millionaires or something like that.
Right.
So you have to look at how many clients they have too, like you said.
They have many. So let's say a third of his base are actually doing the work, and they have so a third of 20,000 would be 6,666 crazily. And say they have each a dozen clients. That's 79, that's about 80,000. And they're charging, say, $99 a month. So that's almost $8 million a month of what they're going to call illegal fees. Times 12, that's almost $100 million. Okay, you see what I'm saying? Now, a dozen people is not a lot of credit repair clients, but yeah, so you're looking at a real, you're looking at it going from a, so anyway, the real money is in the collective of these users that they're saying are violating. So they're saying CRC is assisting these users, but then the ultimate users, they're about to have a whole list of these people. So all that money being returned or encumbered would just be a windfall for the CFPB. And again,
So would you keep your subscription if you had one?
well, I actually thought about it because I would try to distance myself so far, because the thing is, if I wasn't confidently compliant with all these rules, if I, I would, okay, so you asked me, would I would feel like if I had that software, which I did just to play with it, but I never really use it. So I'm not, but if I did, it makes no difference if you stop. I would just make sure I'm compliant, because just because you jump ship doesn't mean, doesn't mean anything. Just be sure to get compliant, because if you're using it now and you see this lawsuit, oh Lord, let me run. You're not out the system. I mean, you're not in the clear. It's like, have you violated someone? And it's not about them complaining. The CFPB could, protect people that don't even care that they've been violated, right? So I don't know, because if I had it, that's a lot of people in that CRM, and I'm not jumping ship just because where you're going, and but you're still on the list. It's not like you're going to be expunged from the CRC system where they can't discover. Discovery is going to go back a year or two. So it's like, unless you jump ship before a couple of years ago, and of course there's statute of limitations. I think people were talking about it earlier. There's statute of limitations for some of this stuff. So you would, unless you jump ship before the statute of limitations, it really
could that ever move? Brian, could that ever move to criminal proceedings?
I didn't see anything criminal in there, I mean, all the things we read were some civil things that may have some civil penalties. I didn't see any criminal statutes. Luckily. So yeah, I didn't see anything criminal, but all this is about money. I mean, they want a big check, and they want some promises. They want a consent order. Like I said, Daniel's going to spend a lot of money just trying to get this thing resolved in his favor. I know he spent some substantial money just trying to avoid what they were doing pre-litigation, but now they are in litigation. You should really go hard and try to cut this thing off. I think the complaint sucks. I think it can be defeated. It's going to take a lot of legal, work to do it, but I think it can be done. If not, if they amend, I think CRC has a real good chance to defend this, and I hope he does, because I think CRC can do some remedial measures. Now, I hope CRC understands that. I don't know if they understood what the problem was until this complaint came out, because some of its advertising and wording should be changed. And I think that after reading this, hopefully they saw some areas that can be changed, that can really clear this up. And I think they can come back stronger if they make those changes and sort of provide more education. Perhaps they want to put me on the board, give me $250,000 a month, be good. I can do a weekly. They can, all 20,000 doing credit mastery, and that way they don't have to worry about being subpoenaed, because if you're compliant, it's like, I know some, I preach compliance all the time, but that doesn't mean y'all going to do it. So I'm not assisting you all in doing anything wrong. I'm teaching you how to do stuff right. So, he could do the same thing, put some education, together, and try to encourage people to follow the law. But right now, it's just like you're trying to get people to, you know, the hopes of being a profitable business, charging people, you know, which is fine, nothing wrong with that. But this is a very regulated area. And I told you, here are 5 areas that people should be concerned about. You know, payment, deceptive practices, state laws, TSR, CORA. So
Now, when you say payment processors, why are you listing
well,
that?
you know, a lot of payment processors don't want to process for credit repair. So
Oh, yeah.
you just have to be.
You mean the people who got that processor but didn't disclose?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what processor he's suggesting, but yeah, some don't support credit repair. So yeah, that's something to think about. They probably was not concerned about that because I mean, they'd probably using whoever suggested that supports that. But you know, people learning their rights and they say, oh, well, shoot, I didn't have to pay that. I mean, it's a whole lot of windfall of craziness can go on, but compliance is the best thing. Education is very important. So, you know, you all invest in your education. So if somebody came after you all, I would be very surprised. You know, I mean, you all know better and still learning. I mean, it's a continuous process. A lot more. I'm not done teaching. I mean, but like we were talking about the complaint, as you learn, you have to adapt and adopt what you learn into your business model. So you're always evolving. And so it can help you, but you should be always revolving. So some of your advertising, you're gonna have to make slight changes so that you're not representing to people what you are going to do, what kind of result you're going to get. You can talk about what you've done for people, whatever, but you have to be sure not to promise a result or represent that they're going to necessarily have some improvements. So yeah, so there's an art to that. But all right, yeah, any other questions?
No, just want to say thank you. This was good. I feel a lot better now.
Good. So yeah, that's good. Good to hear. And yeah, we'll pick it up Tuesday. Tuesday we'll talk about pro se. We'll go through how I can support you all the members on the pro se things. I've given you a lot of homework about pulling the small claims complaint. It's a lot to talk about on the pro se side because a lot of stuff goes on that went on legally, but it's consistent with what I've been teaching and preaching, starting in this state level magistrate court, or small claims court. But we'll pick that up on Tuesday night. All right, y'all. Y'all have a good night.
Good night.
Good night. See you.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.